the autographs, the TV guide covers.
Yeah, I have a lot of, over the years when I would go to California, I'd get a lot of them signed. I would pull them out of my drawers and closets and bring them with me. So
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, Teddy, Masters of Sex first season aired last fall on Showtime. A lot of critical support, Golden Globe nomination for Best Series,
Yeah.
and of course Michael and Lizzie. Just a lot of attention for the show.
Yeah.
You had been guest starring on a lot of shows over your career, and you had been on a couple of shows as a regular, but then they didn't make it past that first season. What was it like for you to join this sort of prestige kind of a drama?
I mean, the simple answer is it's a dream job. It's a dream come true. I mean, I think all actors, especially when you guest star for a long time, you just, like, at first you just want to be hired. You just want someone to say yes to you, and then you think, God, if I could steer this thing in a certain direction, I'd really love to be on this type of show and have it look this way and have this kind of writing. And if I could have drawn it up, I would have drawn it up just like this. A really thoughtful period drama on a network that really supports their shows, and in a great character that I think has a lot of meat on the bone and is very three-dimensional. And it's based on historical characters, so it has a timeline it needs to follow. It has an arc. It's a 30-year arc, but it has an arc. So I mean, listen, for me, I was just over the moon, really grateful, and just excited to have something on the calendar.
I think your career path is the majority of people that ultimately make it to a series, which is guest starring, getting your feet wet, learning the craft, maybe joining a show that doesn't make it. I mean, I think that's the typical. But then, to knock a home run though, to be on a show like this, what did you learn over those years that prepared you for this stage?
That's a really good question. I mean, I just like to work. I mean, I'm a real worker. I'm happy when I'm working towards something. I'm happiest probably when I'm on set. And so if I learned anything, it's just that you just never know. I mean, I guest starred on Studio 60 in the first couple of episodes, and everybody thought that was going to be a massive hit. And it had its critical success, and it did garner some award support, but it sort of came and went. And so anyway, you just don't know. Just for me, I just feel like show up for work, do your best, know your stuff, be flexible, be open to finding it in the moment, and then ideally that sort of thing will land another job because people want to work with people who do just show up and be professional and are nice to be around and all those things. So yeah, I think that for me is probably what I learned most, and also I just learned from watching some of the greats. I'd like to just hang out and watch Jessica Lange do her thing, so I don't know. I like to think that it's going to be a nice long career if I could draft it up, and so I also thought, well, don't be in any hurry. Just sort of stick around, and one of these jobs is going to be one that will be the brass ring, and for me, Masters of Sex is the brass ring.
Now, some characters on this show are real life, obviously Michael Sheen's character, Lizzie Kaplan's character.
Yep.
Some are, I guess, amalgamations of real people. Well,
Yep.
Is your character, Dr. Austin Langham, was he a real guy?
No, Langham wasn't a real guy. In an early version of the script, I read for this same character, but he had a different name, and the name of that character is an actual guy. But I think they decided to take sort of the best qualities of the guy, best or worst qualities of the guy, fictionalize his name so that we can then fictionalize his story. Because had I been this particular individual, if we're telling the truth of these characters, eventually that guy would have gone this certain direction, and I think it allows Michelle and Sarah to throw Langham in various situations where this other character never would have been in his real life. So it's very much an amalgamation of another guy. It's a fictionalized version, and it's a lot of fun because I don't know where it's going. I have no idea what's on the horizon, which makes it both scary and very, very exciting.
your character, on a lot of shows, they get into arcs, and characters may not even see other characters, but you interact with a lot of them. Let's talk about some of those. Let's start with Michael Sheen. He's one of the major doctors in this university hospital,
yes.
And you're one of the younger doctors.
Yes.
Tell me about your acting relationship with Michael Sheen.
Yeah, it's funny. Michael and I had, gosh, if I look back to season 1, I think we only had one scene one-on-one, and it was at the way end of the first season. Other than that, we were in maybe 3 or 4 total, and either well, I think Virginia was there, or another doctor's there. But if I can recall, it was just one scene one-on-one with Michael. This season we've had a couple so far, and so I guess that our acting relationship is great. He is, I think, one of the best in the business. He's sort of intimidatingly good, where I just hope that I can stand toe to toe with him because he's so, these actor words. He's so layered. He's so nuanced. But he's just a fully fleshed out character with conflicting impulses and conflicting thoughts. Michael's our anchor, man. He just comes to work ready to slay the dragon every day. He's great.
We interviewed him a while back, and I could tell. I always felt this way, but then when I talked to him, I could tell he really researches and does a lot of detailed work. And I'm not even talking about a true life character necessarily like this one. Right. You could tell he puts a lot of effort in behind the scenes on whatever project he's on. Yes,
yeah, absolutely. He really dives in. I don't think you'll find him without some sort of book or some sort of source material, too far away from him. Yeah, he really gives it his all. And his name is on the product. The title of the show is Masters of Sex, and Dr. Masters he's the guy. He's number one. We're seeing his story, and really his relationship with Virginia. So I think Michael, being the pro that he is, he knows that, and he knows that I think for the series to continue to stay where it is, and ideally to soar, that he's got to be on point. But it's not just Michael. All of us feel that same way. I mean, we all really did our due diligence. We did a lot of reading, did a lot of researching, and especially I don't want to say the younger actors, but maybe younger as far as career accolades go. This was our chance to be in something so great, so once in a lifetime for us, that I think even when you talk to Caitlin Fitzgerald tomorrow, she'll tell you that was something so important to all of us that we wanted to be in the same headspace as Michael. And Lizzie, of course, is also a great researcher. So yeah, we're all I think we're all in that camp.
Well, talking about one of those guest stars you just mentioned that has a lot of career accolades, that would be Allison Janney, who you got really good arc with toward the end of the season.
Yeah.
We interviewed her a few months ago, so we're making our way through the whole cast.
Right. Good. Lucky for us.
I'm sure you were probably a West Wing fan and a lot of her films and so forth. What was it like working with her?
God, yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. She's so great, and professionally, I don't think there's anyone else like her. She's just so good, and she just bears her heart and soul, I think, in everything she does. And of course, you can't watch a movie or be a fan of films and not have come across her work in some capacity. I mean, I just rewatched Big Night the other day, and she was in Big Night, and I had totally forgotten that. So I was a little intimidated, but when I met her, and from speaking to her, she's just so sweet and easygoing and nice and fun, and not what I expected. I expected CJ. I expected someone the woman from the way back, ballsy and brassy and a little bit loud, and she's just so kind and sweet, and so we hit it off personally. Off-screen, which made the on-screen stuff so much easier because these two characters had to really connect. They had to really find something in each other that fulfilled perhaps something missing in themselves, and I think that because we were able to to get on so well off camera that we were able to tell the truth of what was being written on camera.
Yeah, kudos to your casting folks and producers. I mean, I would not have thought of her necessarily, like you said, based on her other work. I mean, I know she's a great actress and all, but just to think of her for this particular reserved wife in the 50s kind of a role, I just thought that was excellent. Just even casting her.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And like you and I could probably go down the list. I mean, another character just jumped into my mind from Drop Dead Gorgeous, where she's, this trailer park, so loud and so wonderful. They really had to have, use some great imagination and trust and realize that she not only was going to be good in the role, but I mean, man, she really brought something so delicate and so human and so fragile. Her stuff with Beau Bridges is incredible to watch. Her personal struggle through through the study is really fun, and I love the stuff between she and I. I just think these two characters who are literally untethered in their life at the end of, I think it's episode 10, where we're drifting in the pool together, totally adrift. The script even describes it as like two astronauts, floating in space. I think that they did a great job picking her, and I don't think anyone else could have been Margaret Scully with as great effect as Allison Janney.
Well, I hope you've already, I guess, shot all or most of second season.
Well, we're halfway through actually, so we're
okay. It debuts this summer though, and not in the fall like last time.
Yeah, it's and I don't know what the reason was behind that, but I will tell you, it's exciting to come back a little earlier, and to hear from folks who love the show. They're quite excited to get it 3 months early.
I think you don't follow all of this like we do on our awards website, but I think it's very sneaky of Showtime. They're following the old AMC process of having new episodes for a new season airing while Emmy voters have their ballots.
Yeah,
in other words, they take advantage of all the promotion and all of the hoopla over a new season. Even though those episodes aren't being considered, it's like an extra bit of a push while those ballots are out.
That's it. Yeah, that's interesting. That's some strategery, I guess, right there.
That's right.
Yeah,
Breaking Bad has done that. Mad Men in the first few years did that. So I'm expecting a lot of good things on the Emmy ballot this year for many of you. You got to go to the Golden Globes back in January. The show was nominated. What was that party like?
I've never been to anything like that before, and I'm such a lover of TV and film. My wife and I mean, that's our nightly ritual. We just plop down on the rug, we throw a couple pillows on the floor, and we go through our list of things to do. So for me to be in that room, I mean, was awesome. Also to be in the room as a first-year show, we weren't. I mean, to be nominated, among shows like Breaking Bad and Downton Abbey and The Good Wife, House of Cards, to be mentioned in the same breath as those shows who have had more than one season, and that are the best shows on TV. It was just great, and I just had my head on a swivel being in that room, seeing all these really great people who I just really admire. I just really love TV and film, and it was a career highlight for me, no doubt. Yeah.
Tell us a person or two that really made your night that you got to shake hands with or say hello.
Well, I always love seeing Sarah Paulson. We worked together on American Horror Story and on Studio 60 actually, which is actually how we met. And then we didn't have any scenes on Horror Story, but I would see her around the lot. She's great, and everything she does I think is great. So it was really fun to catch up with her. And then we're sitting a table or two away from the House of Cards folks, and I love that show, and I've become a huge fan of Veep, and so to see Julia Louis-Dreyfus sort of bounce between the TV section, which is a little bit removed from the film folks who are down on the floor. Those are two that popped to mind. And Michael Douglas. I mean, my wife and I don't live, in Hollywood, so we don't in our grocery runs or whatever see bold-faced names and faces. So to see these people. Those first few that popped into my head were just, and then I mentioned really cool, really cool.
Talking about Emmy Awards, if you get nominated this summer over in July, you're going to have to, in that drama supporting actor category, you're going to have to find one episode from season one that you feel like was a really good showcase for your character. Have you thought about what that might be?
Yeah, yes. Well, and I think I was on 7 or 8 episodes the first season, and but the episode that I loved, that I sort of felt really encapsulated sort of Langham's life in 1957 was episode 10, which is called Fallout. It's the episode where there's a civil defense drill, national civil defense drill going on, and throughout the day in the hospital staff begin to sort of, I don't know, drop like flies, and they have little name tags that say, why they're ailing or why they've become deceased, that sort of carnage, in the background is mirroring what's happening on the inside of, in his life. The episode starts out, he's nice and happy, he's hitting on a nurse walking down the hall, and then he's confronted with news that he is, spoiler alert, that he's fathered a child with a woman in the study, and his life begins sort of falling apart the same way everyone's life is metaphorically falling apart due to this civil defense drill. And then he seeks out Allison Janney in the pool, and I just love that. Like, when his life is falling apart, he goes back to this older woman who clearly touched something in himself that was so scary and so unnerving that he broke up with her, but yet he goes and seeks her out in the university pool. He remembers her saying that she liked to swim. It was a throwaway line leaving the movie theater when he first bumped into her, and I just thought that was so wonderful and so beautiful, and also sort of leaves us with a lot of places to go for season 2, and I really like that episode. Again, just to wrap this thought up, that it sort of encapsulated everything from sort of a lighthearted, happy-go-lucky Langham to a, my God, everything is falling apart. What do I do now? And it was an emotional episode for me to go through, but it was the most fun as well. I just loved it.
I was hoping that would be the one you would pick. I thought you had the most to do in that one, which is important. From an Emmy standpoint, you want a lot of screen time, but you want to have that range and that, I think that's a really good one for you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It was my favorite of the year, and really not just because I was in it. I just thought it was so well written, and it was a very watchable, very fun episode. Leslie Linka Glatter directed it, and Sam Shaw wrote it, and yeah. Well, thank you very much. That was my favorite.
Well, that drama supporting actor, that's one of the toughest categories in the world to get into. I mean, you got Aaron Paul and Dean Norris and Mandy Patinkin and Peter Dinklage, but if you do break through, that'll make you competitive.
Well, I guess I'm sort of stammering because those are all actors who I'm in awe of. And listen, it's wonderful to be in the conversation. Honestly, I hope we have a nice long run on the show, and I guess I don't really know how to answer that, but to say yes, it's a tough one to break through. That would just be a wonderful gift, a wonderful problem to have. But I'm just happy to be on a show that's so, that's being mentioned for even being in contention.
Well, give us, as we wrap up here, a quick glimpse at season 2. It debuts in July, like we mentioned earlier. Tell us kind of where things kick off and maybe some of the guest stars that'll be on this year.
Season 2 is an interesting one. I mean, I don't know how to say it except to say that there's an entirely sort of new complexion to season 2. Our locations are different. Season 1, Masters is let go from the hospital, and so he has to take his practice and ostensibly the study to new locations. So we're going to see new locations. With new locations come new characters. Among those, I mentioned earlier, but Betsy Brandt, Danny Houston, Courtney B. Vance, Jocko Sims, Keke Palmer, Sarah Silverman, and we're only halfway through the first season. So, in everyone's story, everyone's in a different place emotionally in the beginning of season 2 as they were in season 1. The stories are moving along for everyone. And it's really, really fun. It's really fun, and it's sort of, I want to tease but not give away. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. There's just an entirely different complexion in season 2, but the same great characters and same great writing.
Yeah, as we've had so many interviews over the years on people on shows like yours that have a lot of secrecy, plot development that the producers don't want to let out. And I always warn them, don't tell us too much, or you'll be falling down an elevator shaft before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of these questions that I never quite know how to answer, and it's awful to be so deliberately vague. But here we are. We're approaching June 1st, which means we're a little bit more than 6 weeks out from when we air. So hopefully that's enough to get folks excited about what's to come, but also frustrated enough to be like, oh, damn it, like I'll just watch it, or I'll just look for more interviews because I want more information. But the scripts have been great. Really excited about season 2.
Well, really looking forward to this coming season. Good luck on the Emmys this summer, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. I mean it.